Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about how Astral could have faked his death to become Shroud. Now, I do want to put it out there, this is only a theory of mine, supported by some evidence that we have gathered from the Dispatch episodes 1 through 6. I feel like Astral is the most likely candidate with the evidence we received from the game thus far. Now, to get started, I think one of the first people that were mentioned to possibly be Shroud was Waterboy. I do feel like this is an unlikely scenario. He's always been shown to be a good person. I feel like he has a lack of knowledge of the astral pulse, if we're being honest. We haven't known for him to know any knowledge of that. He hardly even knows that you're Mecha Man. So it's hard to say that he would have the intentions or the knowledge, especially with his weird personality, to even be Shroud. Plus, I think the biggest key factor that has been at play is Shroud has never shown any abilities. I'm not even possibly sure if he has any abilities. Most likely is a human person. So for Waterboy to portray a character, not show any of his abilities, not show any like water dripping off his suit, as we've seen in Shroud and cutscenes, um, I just don't see it happening. Waterboy is an unlikely candidate, in my opinion. That may change as we get more evidence going into the last episodes, but we'll see. The next character we're going to talk about is Chase. A lot of people thought Chase would be Shroud. I think there's a lot of reasons to it. He was the one that recommended you get recruited into SDN. He was also part of the Brave Brigade with Robert's father. He controls the ability to be a speedster, so he could probably be virtually in two places at once. But I feel like due to his old age, he wouldn't be able to maintain that, especially trying to play Shroud and trying to be there at SDN regularly. Though he was one of the most vital characters of the story, if not one of the most vital characters, at least to Robert in his upbringing into his role at SDN. Though I will say he definitely does have motive. If Chase is trying to reverse his time, he's trying to find a way to strategize on how he could reverse his age and be able to keep his abilities for a long period of time. I think the hardest part, though, is he does have a very good relationship with Robert and had a good relationship with his father. So for him to have enough motive just to try to extend his life, even though I'm sure he's lived with the consequences of his actions, I just don't see it happening. And now that we've found out in the later episodes, with him being in the same room as Robert, as Shroud appears in Invisible Girl, when they're trying to get the astral pulse, it just seems unlikely, even if he could manage his speed to be in two places at once. I mean, the likelihood of him pulling that off without alerting Robert or someone else on the way would just be uncanny. Though I do find it odd that he has the same hand gestures as Shroud showed in cutscenes, and I feel like that was one of the biggest leading factors as to why people thought Chase was Shroud. But after the events of episode 6, I think it's pretty safe to say that Chase is not Shroud. He is not in the condition to be Shroud, and even if he was Shroud, he definitely cannot be anymore. So I rest my case. Next, we got Blonde Blazer. Me personally, I just don't see how this would even be possible. Like I said before, Shroud has never shown that he's had any abilities. If he did, why wouldn't Blonde Blazer, if she was Shroud, not use her abilities at some point to benefit her, especially in any of these cutscenes? I think it's unlikely. I mean, she also did recruit you to SDN. Yes, she was influenced by Chase, but she recruited you. She thought you were a good fit. She needed help, especially trying to manage a group of villains. What I will say, though, is her backstory is kind of filled with unknowns. There's not a lot that we know about Blonde Blazer. If you do read the comics, I mean, we at least know about the date with Phenomenon and the real reason why she wanted to break up with him. I mean, I think it's a pretty justified reason, though. If Phenomenon is only wanting to date Blonde Blazer and Blonde Blazer wants to settle down as Mandy, I think that's a valid reason to get rid of a relationship if the your partner is not interested in both of your identities. Though she is one of your love interests, so that is a potential possibility that she could be manipulating you or trying to set you up. I just think it's unlikely. It's clear she has a down to earth personality and she really cares about people. She runs a whole business, just to save people. So for her to betray this evil character, especially since she doesn't even really fit the bill of the Shroud, I think it's almost guaranteed it's a man. I just don't see it happening. Yes, she has some disappearances in the show that could be unsettling, but then again, we don't know her backstory, so we don't know what's truly going on. I feel like the most justified thing, though, that people mention is she might be Elliott's daughter. If this is the case, I think that is definitely a concern. And even if her dad is Elliott, what motive does she have to be a villain? She's shown that she has good intentions. She's shown that she cares to be making a positive impact. I just don't see any reasonable motive other than her dad being a villain. Okay, what is she trying to do something in her dad's place? And why doesn't she just do that with her superpowers? Ultimately, I think there's just a lot of unknowns. We don't have enough evidence to support she's a villain. Um, be that as may, if she's the daughter of a villain, but she's shown that she has good intentions. At the end of the day, I feel like we gotta give her the benefit of the doubt, and she's not Shroud. Now, for who I believe is Shroud, it might be a controversial opinion, but I do believe it is Astral. And here's why. He is a very big part to the story. He is frequently mentioned in several scenes. Even in the beginning scene of the story, he's mentioned. He's kind of just the reason Robert does what he does. He wants to be this person that's able to outshine his dad, do better than the last two Mecha Mans. And I want to say one of the main reasons Robert feels this way is because his dad neglected him. His dad was never as present in Robert's life as he should have been. There's not enough evidence to pinpoint what's actually true. We don't get to see it. So I'm not going to believe that someone's dead if I don't even have the evidence to prove they're dead. Everyone thinks he's dead. He doesn't have his old Brave Brigade to fall back on, especially, after expecting that people thought Elliott killed him. Elliott's not dead either. Elliott could be Shroud, though I feel like that leaves no room for a plot twist. And I feel like this game is definitely going to go for some type of plot twist here. You could say all the evidence points to Elliott, but then again, why has he never been shown if he's such a substantial character? He has the motive. He's never had the best relationship with his son, and who knows or wants the Astral Pulse more than Robert's dad, Astral. He's had a lot of experience with the Astral Pulse. Yes, Roy did say he didn't make it, but even if he didn't make it, even if Elliott did make it, as proved and fact checked in the comics by Chase, doesn't mean that Astral doesn't know how to use it. And I feel he has more than enough capabilities, especially with his proficient use of engineering skills, to make or use the Astral Pulse to the best of its ability. Now, yes, he maybe can't make it from scratch. That's been shown, because why would he be so eager to get the Astral Pulse that's already been designed? Because he doesn't know how to make it, but he does know how to use it. But it's clear that Astral has the resources to become Shroud and would have enough motive to want to get his son to be his enemy. It's not like a perfect theory, but we've had examples of this before, where the father Astral in this instance would want to have some type of conflict with his son. And through the use of Invisigirl, which I think has been a prominent character in this, he is able to manage what Robert does, and he could get his information out of her. Now, I do believe she is a spy for Shroud, regardless if that's Elliott or Astral, who I believe. But I think she's been a prominent person in the story, and due with your relationship with her, she might decide to change. But I'm confident enough to say that she did not cut these ties or is going to cut these ties initially. Because you got the instance where in the beginning, Robert was in his mech. When his shields go down, there's a bomb on the back of his mech, and Toxic mentions, "Get out of there, babe," indicating that it could have been Invisigirl. Who else would have gone invisible and been able to do that without getting caught? And you got her suspicious backstory where she turned herself in, no questions asked. I mean, that's as suspicious as it gets, especially when she's just trying to spy on Robert or get details of the team. And then she mentions during her fight on the boat, when before you're able to unlock the door by hacking it, she's like, "Oh, just catching up with old friends." Now, yes, you could say that's just a catchphrase she was saying, but more likely than not, she did know these people, and she does have correlations with them, regardless if she's on Robert's side now or is with Shroud. And the last encounter in episode 6, I think, really sets it in that she at least was working for Shroud at a time being. After you have to get into the safe, and regardless if you make the hack successfully or not, the safe opens. I mean, who else could have opened the safe? She clearly said right before the scene of you even having to hack it, "I don't know how to open the safe." So what the heck happened? Like, the safe doesn't just open on itself. The reality is she's working with Shroud for the time being. Like I said, if she switches, great. And now that we make our way out the doorway with the Astral Pulse, the lights go out. I think it's just, we knew what was going down. Astral set this all up. It was a grand scheme. He's playing Shroud. He wants his Astral Pulse back. He wants to give Robert an enemy, give him the opportunity to really set his name in stone, be a great desired Mech Man 3, and also, he's playing this elaborate game where he's using people like Invisigirl, now who's caught in this trap. Now he got to get Chase to come and save her because no one else is going to be able to, and now he's also able to take out a former member of the Brave Brigade. So I think it's a big elaborate plan that Astral planned, and this has been successful. But my final thoughts are, I do believe Astral is Shroud. May it be Elliott if they decide not to do any plot twists? Yes. May it be some character we haven't even been introduced to that we don't know? Yes. But if I'm going off of what I've been shown in the game, what facts we know, who is this desired character, who is this desired maybe protagonist turned antagonist, I think it's got to be Astral. If you guys agree, please leave your thoughts down in the comments. If you disagree, please still leave your thoughts down in the comments. Who do you guys think the Shroud is? But without further ado, I'll see y'all another time. Peace.